Greetings from Seoul, Korea, and welcome to the GSL Code S. Tasteless and Artosis here, bringing you the best StarCraft II action in the world. Artosis, how are you doing today?
Tasteless, I'm doing perfectly.
That's pretty good.
How are you doing today?
I'm
probably
also
not
doing
that good.
Almost perfectly.
Well, that's not even anywhere near perfect.
Yeah, I guess that's true, actually.
Yeah.
If you're almost
Perfection
perfect.
is like, very few can achieve that, Tasteless, but I have done it today.
I actually can't wait for this first match. Genius against NaNiWa. PvP, and I think possibly the best possible PvP we could actually ask for. I mean,
yeah.
NaNiWa, the foreign hope, he's so solid. He's had so much success, especially at the various MLG events that he's attended. He's here in Code S now, the only foreign player here in Code S.
Yes.
That's basically left
Make
over.
it to the round of 16. This
He's
never
a
happens,
great white
man.
hope. Yeah. Yeah.
I mean,
this was stuff that was happening like in Season 1. And,
as the game gets more and more figured out, the non-Koreans do worse and worse in GSL. That's actually a fact.
The Korean metagame and the Korean server is just superior compared to...
Well, even the ones that live over here have a hard time, man. There's a lot of great Korean players. And for NaNiWa to get it this far already, very impressive. But can he get further? It's a very difficult group. But he definitely has the chance of doing it here, if he can, especially if he can take out Genius.
Absolutely.
Because I say you give him 2 tries in a row to make it in the top 8. 2 tries against any players in the world, I give NaNiWa a good chance.
Yeah.
But this first one, if he loses the first one, that's bad momentum. Could be a very
It'll
tough
be pretty
road
tough.
upwards.
I think NaNiWa is very capable of beating Genius. I don't really think, when I think of NaNiWa, I don't think of his PvP so much.
You think of his PvZ. Yeah. I actually think of his PvP pretty heavily as well. I'm actually a big NaNiWa PvP fan. He's one of the early players that was like, you know what? I love Phoenix builds. I love Blink Observer. He was one of the early ones that figured out, he's like, everyone's so bad at PvP, I can just do good builds.
He wasn't just like making 2 gates in his main and then going for Colossus, getting a 3rd gate a little bit later on.
Yeah. He's actually harder to use better builds.
Builds that if you master them, you're just going to beat a player, even if he's better than you, if he's using one of these inferior builds.
And I got to say, I love NaNiWa, and I want him to get out so bad. But my favorite Protoss in the whole world is Genius.
Well, Genius is just inspirational when you watch him play.
Some might say he's genius.
Yeah.
In fact, everyone would say he's genius, but I say he's genius.
Take some serious balls to call yourself genius and then actually pull it off. Imagine if there was a guy in the middle of Code A who was called Genius. We're like, yeah, I guess.
Like Perfect Man.
All right, let's take a look at today's matchup. For solid StarCraft II players, Genius, NaNiWa, Supernova, and Virus. 2 Protosses and 2 Terrans.
Well, here we have Genius, the runner-up of GSL, maybe the smartest player in the world, one of the best Protoss, if not the best. Then we have NaNiWa. He is the last foreigner left in the GSL at all, anywhere. A great player indeed. Supernova. No one expected him to get this far, but he is a godly Terran.
3%.
Yeah, something like that.
Group, yeah.
And Virus, he's the other guy. About 5% said he'd make it, and here he is, just a solid mechanical Terran.
It'd be really weird if actually we had Violet and Virus get out.
Virus and Supernova, you mean?
Oh, I'm sorry, Virus Supernova. I don't know why I called him Violet. But yeah, it would just be pretty crazy. Now, these are the 2 favorites for the group, and I'm fairly certain when we see the polling data, it's going to show that as well. Genius.
You think?
I
it
think
could
so.
be. It could be. Yeah, you know what? I think you might be right. But I wouldn't be surprised if Supernova's up there because I ranted so hard about him last time. I'm like, guys, he's really good.
That's
and
true.
They crushed that group. Made that group look scrubby.
Genius, of course, was just recently a finalist in the GSL. He is so scary. It's funny, too, because he started out as one of the scariest StarCraft II players, but got eliminated early on in the GSL Season 1 of last year, Code S, our very first GSL. And then he sort of fell off the bandwagon. His build seemed a little bit anachronistic and unoriginal.
Definitely.
And, we sort of criticized him for, one of these players sort of falling off, kind of barely eking by with wins when he didn't manage to stay in GSL Code S. Now he is a powerhouse.
Yes, he kind of just came back like he was in early StarCraft II and during the beta where it was just like, oh, Genius has all the smartest, best builds, and he's really good mechanically.
Yeah, so we're going to have to see Genius, potentially the best Protoss in the world, against, I guess, potentially the other best Protoss in the world, NaNiWa, here in the GSL Code S. Oh, this is so cool. Look at this.
This is where Tasteless keeps his yacht.
Yeah, man. This is like GOMTV is the best. They do stuff like this.
That's why.
That's why,
it's not
man.
the best players. We're having tasteless there.
No, it's not. It's that graphic right there. In the bottom right, in the red, a finalist of the GSL. Code S, his ID is...
MVP
NaNiWa
Genius.
wants to pause. Why am I not shocked NaNiWa's pausing in a game?
Yeah. He will not accept anything less than perfect situation to play in.
Yep.
So we'll have someone figure out exactly what that is for him and get that fixed and get back into that game as soon as we can.
So just sit tight. We're also we'll be notified probably shortly here as to what exactly is going on. But these players, they do need their settings to be absolutely 100% perfect, just like it is at home, or you can't play. You can't. StarCraft is not a game you could just hop on somebody's PC.
Yes.
And with their settings, and then
it's
so
so hard to do that. You're one of the only players, in fact, that I've seen just use any equipment.
yeah, I will use but I mean, if I actually want to play for real.
Oh no, of course.
Yeah,
I mean, you know me, Tasteless. If I go to your house, you're like, no, just play a game for fun. No, it's not even on a good account. I'm like, no.
You have to move all your settings around.
I have the same mouse pad and keyboard as you. I'm like, but your mouse is not the same, Tasteless. I would not touch that.
You keep
I would
your
not
settings.
touch that to browse the internet with, Tasteless.
You keep your settings like for your mouse thing. His settings are actually so insanely low.
Yeah.
The amount of lactic acid that I built up, or that you have built up, in your upper right side of your back must be insane.
Dude, here's the thing, man. One day, I will use that lactic acid. And we'll see what it'll be for. You know, like, maybe someone's after me, chasing me. I'm like, no! And I only have a knife. And I just go like this and stab my own shoulder, and then it just sprays out, and then he can't move.
And maybe that
just
acid
slows
is
down.
somehow like the acid in Aliens, and he's like, oh, his face melts.
It could be that. Other than that, maybe it suddenly releases, and I do a super punch. I break through a locked door.
All right, I had this. I don't know how long we're going to be paused here, so I had this.
Something happened with the keyboard, from what I understand of Korean, and they are fixing it.
So hopefully we'll get that fixed pretty soon here. I had this. We're actually going to go into a regame, so no more time killing.
Dude, here's the thing, man. They had to give this win to Genius, man. I can't believe they didn't do this.
He was his probe came out at 0.5 seconds quicker, and you know that matters. It does. I don't know if I can work into these kind of conditions. I mean that's just clearly not fair.
Yeah.
So we're gonna.
I don't think you should be made to. Actually,
I don't know. I think Genius should have won that, and we shouldn't have had a regame. All right.
I don't know, man. My keyboard doesn't work. What do you want?
I don't know, LOL.
They're like, play without a keyboard. He's like, what do you want me to do? I can't play without a keyboard. You're like, oh, just the mouse. You can click on everything.
All right, so we will have the regame soon. I guess there's some clarification going on. I guess they probably made the decision first, told us, and then they're going to have to let him know. Well, it's really, we've joked, but the truth is this is going to have no impact at all on the series or anything else.
Nothing.
This is not a moment where it's like he was 6-pooling, then the guy saw it, but then the 6-pooler had to pause because his mouse stopped working.
Yeah. In fact, NaNiWa didn't even get to make his probe because his keyboard was broken. Like, I looked at the probe count. He's down one already after the game just started.
The NaNiWa is actually, he uses the left-handed mouse, but is actually right-handed as far as writing goes. That's so interesting. You don't really hear about players that would write with the right hand, but then for some reason prefer a left-handed mouse. I really wonder if there's some weird, funky fact as to why that is. Like maybe
I believe it was his father was left-handed.
Okay,
so
all right,
that's how it was set up.
I was going to say maybe he had an old sibling or something using a left-handed mouse. He's like, whatever, I'll just figure this thing out.
If it's the way you learn it, it's the way you learn it. It's not, I don't think it actually has that much of an impact.
If you have a kid who's left-handed and you try to force him to be right-handed,
they get a lisp.
They can develop a speech impediment.
Yeah. And, I wonder if that would be true about mouse and keyboard.
No, I really wonder
What if the mouse is the artistic part and we should be using our left hands, but we're all using our right hands because we're righties, and actually the way that most of humankind speaks, 80% of us, is actually with an impediment. Imagine what we would sound like if we actually would just use the right hand.
Think about that.
Wow. What if we all see colors differently, but we can't tell each other because there's no way to do it?
Think about that. Nerd brains all over the walls of the houses that are watching.
The deepest. I'm coming up with the deepest things. No one's ever thought of this before, guys. This is some wild stuff I'm coming up with right now. This is revolutionary.
I guess we're going to have to keep waiting a little bit longer.
By the way, guys, the Korean Hot 6 Facebook page is open. As you see, it's on there at facebook.com/hot6. It's with a 6 instead of an S. Go there and like it, because that actually really helps. The sponsors are like, oh, wow, look at this. This community really is worth our money to put into.
Please do that.
And
please do that, actually, because that actually...
Look, I know
if you want to help
and
contribute to esports, this is a great way to do it.
Look, I already know that you're on Facebook looking at the pictures of your ex-boyfriend or ex-girlfriend. I know you're going through those and being like, oh, who are they with now? Oh, look at that. This person just... They let themselves go. It's like, look, I already know you're doing that. Just jump over to Hot 6 and like it, please. Also, go to /Tasteless and like that. He needs more fans on Facebook.
I got to start using my Facebook
and go over to /Artosis and like that, too, because you know what? Everyone should like everybody.
Oh, good. The game's starting.
Yay!
I was wondering how long we had to fill time for. Again, rematch on Atlantic.
Antigua.
Antigua ship. I was like Atlantic spaceship. As I'm saying.
Well, it docks sometimes at Antigua shipyard.
It docks there every once in a while.
No, it doesn't. You silly guy. They're like,
can't
the universe is apart.
It's a giant platform floating in space. All right, let's try this again. The instigator of the regame. No, it's not, actually. They switched colors. Our player is
MVP Genius.
Was anyone red in the last game? I thought he was.
No.
No, he wasn't? All right. I'm actually a crazy
Sorry,
person.
Tasteless. You're wrong.
And now we're going to take a look at the
that,
stats.
Tasteless?
Pretty good 10 games, 6 wins, 4 losses. Now remember the recent 10 games he played were, pretty intense. So he's solid. He's very solid. And in the upper left, the actual instigator of the rematch, we have our player. He is
NaNiWa.
There he is.
There
Looks
he
like
is.
everything's working fine for him this time.
Looking very intense, actually,
recent
right
10
now.
games, a little bit worse.
Wow, actually considerably worse.
Winning a couple matches. And that's not games, that's matches. So, just so you know, he's won 4 out of his last 5 games on GOMTV.
Yes.
Game directing by StarTale Legend.
He is great. I believe
He's becoming, you know what? He's becoming what his ID is.
Yeah, he is a legend.
He's becoming a legend because he's so good at observing the game.
Yeah. I believe he streams. You should check him out if he's streaming. Yeah. All right, we got some support here.
Finland is cheering for Sweden.
Yeah.
And free soju for NaNiWa if he wins. Guess what, guys? If he wins, he gets thousands more dollars, and soju's $1 bottle. So, I mean, as tempting as that may be.
That's actually one of the best parts about Korea.
It's a pretty wonderful part,
It's a pretty good little fact.
Yeah. Well, I want to point something out already, Tasteless.
Yeah, go ahead.
Is that neither of these players has scouted yet at all. This is a very late scout.
NaNiWa is somebody who will actually do that as well. Quite often. This is exactly what I was thinking. 35.2, and then 29.9.
And you can notice that, for instance, Genius's setup I actually like a little bit more, because he has it set up in such a way that if he does get Proxy 2-Gate Zealot rushed, which he did not scout for, and of course they do know where each other are on the map, but if that happened, right, then Genius is going to be much more fine because it's harder to get to his pylon. Whereas NaNiWa, not only did he not scout, but he kind of left it a little bit more open, so he'd be much more down to the micro rather than using building placement as well.
Yeah, exactly.
Not a gigantic difference, because likely neither of these guys are going to do that. But anyways, Genius going for the Twilight Council. Looks like a very quick blink build for Genius.
And we're still waiting to see exactly what NaNiWa is going to do. Once we see the tech place down, then we can get a much better idea of how this game's going to pan out.
I think NaNiWa might go ahead and, throw down a Twilight Council as well.
So you think they're both going for Blink or both going for DTs?
I would say Blink. I mean, this definitely looks Blink to
This
me.
is a map where blinking into the main is so unbelievably strong.
Not just that, but Blink in general is just such a good upgrade to get early. And You know, the one interesting difference so far is that NaNiWa has gotten a sentry with his right away, whereas Genius has foregone that sentry, which gave him a little bit more gas, and that allowed him to get his Twilight Council a little bit quicker, and his blink is started before the Twilight Council is done for NaNiWa right now. But it's not going to be that much further ahead. You know, Chrono Boost can even make up for it. So pretty much mirror builds. NaNiWa, with that one sentry, though, will have just a little bit less gas for additional Stalkers. So he's likely, in this situation, if he figures out what's going on, going to have to play defense.
Okay, so Genius now planting the pylon in the far left. So it looks like he's going to be the aggressor for starts. NaNiWa does have his Stalkers placed out on the map to block off a scouting probe so that it may look like, or it may deceive Genius into thinking that he's expanded when he in fact has not.
It's been a while since I've seen NaNiWa do this build, but actually this is his standard build for Blink Observer. You know, he loves to get really quick Blink with it, but he's got to be careful against just this pure Blink attack because he's spent 100 gas on that Sentry, and now he's spent 100 gas on the Robo, so he's going to have up to 4 less Stalkers as far as gas goes. So he has to be careful about this. Genius is going to be pretty hard to stop.
Yeah, and of course with Blink, even if he gets a force field up, if he has any vision to the high ground, he's going to get up there.
Oh, definitely. But, you know, if NaNiWa gets out an Immortal very quickly, that's going to help out. And
now NaNiWa is making a pylon over here in the bottom right, so you can warp in Zealots and send them into the main.
9 Stalkers against 6 right now, so that's kind of what's going on here. And
oh my God.
Nice Blink, and Genius really abusing that smaller Stalker count here, sorry. But, you know, NaNiWa does have Blink as well.
Controlling very well,
That's right. Some more Warpins in his main base as well. Oh, misses that one Blink. And it looks like, for now, he will go ahead and hold on. And, in fact, Genius, his proxy pylon a little bit further away, wasn't able to reinforce quickly like NaNiWa was. Oh, man.
And he's actually making a pylon inside the base, so he can warp in Zealots there. I think Genius might be in some hot water if he doesn't kill NaNiWa fast.
Well, you know, I think what Genius is going to have to do here, Tasteless, is sit back and warp in his main base. And, in fact, it does get canceled as he warps in that Zealot there. And it looks like the aggression for Genius has to be done, and he's going to definitely lose at least a pylon on the way. And now with the Observer as well as Stalkers, NaNiWa's going to be feeling very strong.
Yeah,
here.
I mean, he could blink into the main if Genius tries to leave. He's going to have basically complete control of this game. I think it's going to be a situation that if Genius recovers from this, he's going to deserve even more of our respect because this is a tough position right now for Genius.
He was behind. He's a bit behind now. You know, even though NaNiWa bought that Sentry, when he blinked up, he's blinking onto Stalkers that don't have to wait for a blink cooldown. He's blinking onto a Zealot. He's blinking onto someone who can warp in immediately there. And now NaNiWa, I mean, he's a few probes up. He's 4 Stalkers up. He's in good shape here, but going to go ahead and expand. I love this choice by NaNiWa, saying, well, you know what? I already have my Observer out. I know exactly what's going on, and I can just outproduce you right now. And he's right. He's in great shape.
Yeah, absolutely can.
And Genius has to play a little bit defensive. He doesn't have a lot of scouting going on.
What would you do if you were Genius in this position? Because I can't even imagine how I would try to play the game out.
Well,
I mean, he's looking at his supply even.
Yeah, I think
the mere match of that really is telling.
He has to do what he's doing, which is get that Robo. But he has to not just do that, he has to expand pretty quickly here. The problem is with that Observer there, when NaNiWa sees something like that, he can then move out if he wants. In fact, he's getting pure Immortals right now. He's getting his 3rd Immortal already. And when he pushes in against that, Genius actually has to have some other tech other than Stalkers. His Stalkers aren't going to do anything. So he has to either spend gas on Sentries to try to keep those Immortals out, but if he does that, the Stalkers become very powerful. It's a hard situation for Genius.
I wonder if he's going to get a 4th Immortal here. All right, we have more Stalkers coming out. And again, the supply 50 to 76, so the expansion really kicking in now for NaNiWa as his supply is getting even further ahead now, 30 supply ahead.
You know, similar probes, but, you know, Genius not really spending much on units this whole time. He's still in 6 Stalkers against 13. There's also 3 Immortals out, so, I mean, these Immortals are going to be just unbelievably deadly. And in fact, NaNiWa even getting that 4th Immortal.
Wow.
Absolute madness. Well, here we go.
Now with the Observer, he can just target down pylons and things of the sort.
That's right. He can even micro from that low ground against the high ground Stalkers if he wants. Of course, he can walk up and force a cancel on that Nexus or even kill it off if he waits a moment here. He can simply force field that ramp and barely anything can get down. Ooh, he did. Genius did kill the Observer, so that's very helpful, but NaNiWa easily going to kill this. Genius can't even come down the ramp right now.
And he makes one force field there just in case. So if he denies the Nexus, he's even more insured to get a lead here. NaNiWa's looking great. I mean, he's solid, man.
Yeah, he's doing a very good job. You look at it, 98 supply to 68, 30 supply ahead. It's complete madness, and that's what can happen when you blink on top of someone incorrectly. That was a very powerful move back in the day, but nowadays, if a player isn't playing too greedy, you're going to be in a lot of trouble.
All right, so 2 more gateways on the way here for NaNiWa. Wonderful spot, that pylon over there. Now he is going for Colossus. I think he's just going to do a 1 base all in.
Yeah,
I don't see him expanding and somehow coming back from this in some kind of
It's probably just the right choice. I mean, the thing is, what choice actually can result in a victory for Genius? Is there one? I don't
think so.
NaNiWa really has to mess up. He has just such a supply lead. He's in great shape, adding a lot of gates, and Colossus are good, but when you have a ton of gateway units, you're not going to be able to do anything unless you have a ton of Colossus, which he can't afford right now. So will he try to expand and play from a severe deficit, or will he go for this 1 base all-in? It really does look like the 1 base all-in is the choice here.
Yeah, well, I mean, if he goes for just 1 Colossus and tries to expand, I mean, NaNiWa won't be able to attack him right away, but the truth is it's not going to allow Genius to catch up in any way.
Yeah.
But, I mean, if he sees him expand with the Colossus, then all NaNiWa has to do is just expand again.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, well, the one thing, Genius does have a couple things going for him. He does have a couple of Mortals mixing. He has a lot of Zealots. He has 2 Sentries with a lot of energy. What does NaNiWa have against Force Field? Well, he has Blink Stalkers, but he's not going to blink onto Zealots, so he has to be careful about that. We're going to have to see how good the Force Fields are of Genius here. I mean, still, I don't think there's any possibility for NaNiWa to lose this battle.
It would be so hard. He would have to mess up.
This is what Genius has
so
done for him,
much.
though. I mean, this is going to be rough.
All right.
These Zealots are going to have to be pretty special tasteless.
I know, right?
Oh, God, this is just...
I think G is now even realizing, wait a minute, I can't even get close to touching that. A few more Stalkers coming up here. What is it, 5 gateways to 3?
Yes, I believe you are correct, sir. Actually, it's 6 gates against 3. And, of course, you can't support more than 3 in Colossus off of 1 base. So, good choice. See, there we go.
Yep.
Force Field's going out, but... Zealot's not even getting surfaced.
He takes out the Immortals, and we should be seeing GG very soon here as Genius has lost game number 1 in this series.
Yeah, very impressive play by NaNiWa. Genius with the incorrect blink in. It was actually really funny because, well, not funny, but Genius blinking up that ramp. He knew that there was going to be a sentry there because of the passivity of NaNiWa there. So he blinked the Stalker onto the ramp and then blinked up immediately. Now, maybe if NaNiWa doesn't have blink there, he can do severe damage. But NaNiWa has his warp pins right there. Genius is a little bit further away. And he blinks on top of a Zealot as well. So yeah, it's 9 Stalkers against 6. But it's not just 6 Stalkers. 6 Stalkers, a Zealot, and a Sentry, which obviously can do like a Guardian Shield, maybe use Force Fields. And the Stalkers can blink. So, of course, NaNiWa able to out-micro him there while he waits for his cooldown. So, I mean, that is not how that game had to look. It looked so one-sided, even though, I didn't mind Genius's opening build. He was too aggressive with that first blink.
I think so. I also think, honestly, I don't know. No, I just really feel like NaNiWa's builds are so perfect.
Yeah, this exact build that he has been using for months. Back when, Blink Obs first came onto the metagame, he was already using this build. Like, he was one of the first players to be like, all right, this is a tip-top build. Way back. So he has this build ultimately refined, and he chose a perfect map for it. Antigua is one of the best maps for that build.
Do you think Genius is going to win game number 2?
Well, the map is Ohana, I believe.
And that's the map he picked, so...
Yeah, I mean,
he's got to have something planned on this map.
It's hard to say. It's really hard to say. This is not as good a map, I would say, in my opinion, for the Blink Obs. I think this is a great one for like a fast expansion. It's got that little ramp leading up to the expansion that's pretty close to the Nexus, pretty close to the ramp. So I'd like to see that type of play here. out of anyone who's willing to do it, Tasteless.
All right, we're going to find out what exactly is going on here. NaNiWa with a bit of an edge. Even if he loses this, he gets to pick the next map.
Yeah.
So, of course, that's why the first game of the best of 3 is so pivotal in StarCraft II.
Mm-hmm.
It's not just about you got to win 2 out of the 3 games. It's no,
Yeah.
if you win the first game, then, yeah, you have this lead. So, Genius knows that. We'll see what he comes up with in this game. This is clearly going to be his best PvP map. This is the only time he gets to choose it. Let's see what he has in store for us. Tastes on our toast here. GSL Code S in Seoul, Korea.